So welcome everyone to our 2026 Know All Your GBM and Recurrent GBM Treatment Options Patient Disease Educational Webinar. I'm Delanne Elliott Midland, and so I am your chairman and CEO of the End Brain Cancer Initiative, formerly the Chris Elliott Fund. And I'm proud to be here moderating this particular webinar with each and every one of you today. So Dr. Michael Magnifico, we call him Dr. Michael, is going to talk to us today about something incredibly interesting. And it's a phase 2 clinical trial for a product called Immune12. And I will say this is intriguing and completely out of the box, which makes it incredibly interesting, but he does have the data to back it up. So really quickly, he holds 3 board certifications: internal medicine, medical oncology, and hematology. During his decades of clinical practice, he directly cared for patients throughout Northwest Connecticut, notably at Sharon Hospital, Charlotte, Hungerford Hospital, and New Milford Hospital, and served as medical director of the VNA Hospice in Torrington for 30 years. VA, is that Visiting Nurse Association?
It is indeed, yes.
Okay, thank you. He received his Bachelorette of Medical Sciences from Dartmouth Medical School and obtained his medical degree from Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. His residencies in medicine and anatomic pathology. What is anatomic pathology?
It's not clinical pathology.
Okay.
It is simply the interpretation of anatomic abnormalities and the biopsies that Dr. Lilly was speaking about.
Thank you. At Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center, and he completed his fellowships in medical oncology and hematology at Yale School of Medicine. He wants you to take away 2 things, if not more. Strong evidence suggests that the novel biologic Immune12 has significant activity against high-grade glial tumors, and an ongoing phase 2 clinical trial in Australia at 2 different sites is designed to confirm that assumption. Dr. Michael, we can't wait to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much. I really have to start off in saying that Delanne, you and the mission team, we are extremely grateful at Pacific Marine Biotech, which is the name of the company which I represent today. We're very, very happy to be invited to present here. I should also say that the content of all of the things that I will say are educational and not intended to be therapeutic advice in any fashion, especially since we do not have FDA approval on most of our indications. And today I plan to talk a bit about Pacific Marine Biotech, our company, its purpose, our products, our projects that are ongoing, and our plans for the future. So we are a small company. However, we're in 2 continents, so that's probably should count for something. We have a small product line, and by the name of the company, Pacific Marine Biotech, and by the background that you just looked at, I strongly suspect that you have concluded that our product is probably marine-based, and indeed it is. It is a mixture of the marine animals and flora that you see here. Most of it is sea cucumber, 2 different species. Sea sponge, also noted as, we'll call it sea sponge, also called sea squirt, and sea urchin. And there's a garnish of sargassum, which is a seaweed. All of these are combined in the combination that you see all the way to the right. And you might ask, well, why indeed these sea invertebrates and why indeed in the mixture that is noted. And that is that it mirrors traditional Chinese medicine that has been used in generations, for generations in that area of the world for all of those things that plague humankind. You know that traditional Chinese medicine is generally a nutritional supplement that will make many things better, from improving longevity to improving hairlines, skin tone, etc. Many people have taken it for many other significant maladies, including autoimmune conditions, neurodegenerative things. And the subject today should be mostly in tumors. So, a wide variety of malignancies have been plaguing that area and have been used with traditional Chinese medicine to ameliorate the effects, to be used alongside of traditional treatments, all of the allopathic treatments. And in general, we have a large number of testimonials based on real life experience that have suggested to us that many of these malignant conditions fall prey to the effects of this traditional Chinese medicine. Indeed, about 40 years ago, the founder of the company, Sam Grant, his father was cured of gastric cancer by this concoction. And this mixture, Sam decided to bring to the world in organized fashion, bring to the world in reproducible form. So he founded a company out of Australia that takes these marine organisms, and this company made a product called TBL12. Initially farmed off of the Great Barrier Reef, its facilities were moved to far east of that to the island chain of Vanuatu, just simply because Great Barrier Reef was starting to have some evidence of industrial pollution. Vanuatu, which is a bit east of Fiji in the South Seas, has no industry and therefore has absolutely pristine waters. So since that time, this product has been utilized worldwide as traditional Chinese medicine and as a nutritional supplement. I will say that Sam wanted to legitimize the activity against malignancies to the scientific world. And he went to the FDA in 2010 and was granted approval for a phase 2 trial against plasma cell myeloma in the asymptomatic phase. This was run out of New York, out of NYU, and out of Mount Sinai. One of the principal authors is Sundar Jagannath, by no means a lightweight in that field. And at the end of the clinical trial, evidence for activity against plasma cell myeloma was demonstrated. The TBL12 was given orphan drug approval at that time, and probably more importantly, evidence for no toxicity was a final product of that clinical trial. This dovetails with all of the real world testimonials that we had had for ages that demonstrated that people took it, obtained benefit from it at no expense with toxicity. More recently, Sam has taken his product to University of North Carolina for more basic science examinations. And there at the Eshelman School of Pharmacy, and the laboratories run by and overseen by Dr. Andrew Chatterley, many things have been found. One informative piece of information showed that this combination of Immune12 in very low concentrations was mixed with multiple malignant tumor lines. And these tumor lines included both the common pancreatic cancer, leukemias, lung cancer, breast cancer, but also a whole group of high-grade glial tumor cell lines. And the long and the short of it is that, as you can see all the way on the right, the survival curves when subjected to gradually increases in Immune12 concentration virtually kills everything. I initially thought that this was sort of a Clorox-like effect where the mixture of marine organisms gave rise to a bursting of cells and an immediate toxic effect, but that is indeed not the case. The concoction of Immune12, which I should say is the same as TBL12, let not the designations be confusing to you. It kills these cells by way of a specific cell programming, apoptosis, that is driven by caspase specificity. So with that information, the principals in this company have decided that more research should probably be done with the high-grade glial tumors, because indeed many of our patients did have high-grade glial tumors due to the present time, and some of those effects and some of those results were really rather astounding. One of our members, Peter Jarin, has accumulated almost 25 patients who have been followed in-house here. It's a heterogeneous group of both patients with methylated and non-methylated tumors with various types of treatment, mostly patterned after the standard of care. But really, the only consistent aspect of all of their therapy is that they have been given TBL12/Immune12 as part of their therapy. His in-house statistics record an overall survival of 35 months, rather impressive in the context of the usual standard of care statistics. Again, this is a heterogeneous group, and we are impressed with their ongoing benefits from our solution. Just like all of the other presentations, I should present to you a few case reports. The first is a 42-year-old patient of Janet Schloss. I will mention her more within the next few minutes. And this previously healthy woman had a 9-centimeter tumor, which was diagnosed and resected 95% initially. She was treated with the usual standard of care with low-dose temozolomide in addition to radiation therapy, and was given high-dose intermittent temozolomide thereafter. After about 10 cycles of treatment, it appeared as though in the November 23rd MRI that she had a recurrence involving the corpus callosum. Indeed, she was put on an attack protocol at that point with osalicibib. Unfortunately, it had no effect, and she had rapid growth to involve both hemispheres, as you see in the December 2023 scan. At that point, she also had evidence of cerebrospinal fluid obstruction and obstructive hydrocephalus, had access created, drainage created, and another biopsy was performed, which demonstrated what has been mentioned in the two previous talks, and that is she had induction of an increased burden of mutations present. At that point, her clinical status deteriorated significantly. She was, in essence, palliative care, but because of her persistence, the persistence of her partner, she was granted compassionate care use of two immune checkpoint inhibitors, both ipilimumab and nivolumab. She got 4 cycles of that, but at the same time became aware of our product and started taking it. TBL12 was started at the end of December, along with immune checkpoint inhibitor therapy. From that point on, she had gradual and progressive loss of tumor bulk, gradual and progressive improvement of her overall performance status, and attained NAD status, as you can see, and returned to completely normal life. So she's back to driving, back to work, back to taking vacations in other parts of the world. And to the present time, she continues to have no evidence of disease status, taking our product. I checked with her physician, Dr. Janet Schloss, actually yesterday, and her overall status is unchanged. So she continues to do well. This is the opposite end of the spectrum. So this is an older woman of 74. She was not a picture of health at the time that she had glioblastoma diagnosed. She had underlying Charcot-Marie tooth, congenital neuropathy. Indeed, she also had smoking-related COPD, chronic hypoxemia, also had hypertension, hyperlipidemia, had cardiovascular disease to the point of having abdominal aortic aneurysm repair. And with that as a burden of underlying disorders, she developed this 2.7 by 2 centimeter glioblastoma. This was fully resected. And at that time, on recovery, she was given the usual standard of care with radiation therapy accompanied by low-dose temozolomide. At that time, however, her son became aware of our product, and she was given it along with the chemoradiation therapy. At the completion of chemoradiation therapy, she decided that she wanted no further standard of care and therefore received no additional treatments with high-dose temozolomide or any of the other adjunctive treatments that might be available in the form of other chemotherapy, Avastin, Optune, etc. She had a survival from the time of initial diagnosis of 4 years, having died without evidence of recurrent glioblastoma, and she died of complications of progressive COPD and hypoxemia. It should be noted that her original tumor was non-methylated, and as you know, the non-methylated status is not only associated with no evidence of good response to temozolomide therapy, but also with a more aggressive biology in general. So again, with this observed real-world results in the absence of any therapy-related toxicity, it was deemed that this should be brought to the scientific community in a more organized and believable way, and therefore we approached the FDA. We have had interact meetings with them. They have been cordial. They have given us a list of things to pursue that generally have to do, as you would expect, with mechanism of action, with PK studies, et cetera, et cetera. And as I have mentioned, we have brought that to the University of North Carolina under the guidance of Andrew Satterley and his laboratory there and all of his collaborators there. And we continue to entertain him and his collaborators with all of the findings that they find quite remarkable with our product. In addition, we have gone to one of our collaborators in Australia, whose name is Janet Schloss, and Janet has authored a clinical trial which was accepted by their FDA, called the TGA, the Therapeutics Good Association, and a phase 2 clinical trial using Immune12 alongside the standard of care for patients with documented glioblastoma has been started. The objectives, the endpoints, and the study population are noted on this clinical slide. You will see that the endpoints, the primary endpoints are RANO criteria, radiographic, and the secondary endpoints are the usual things that you would expect, which includes quality of life, safety in the form of laboratory work, steroid usage, overall survival, and relapse-free survival. We anticipate 60 patients to go on to this trial. This trial breaks them down into 30 patients to utilize our product along with the standard of care. The first group after the completion of chemoradiation therapy and before the onset of high-dose chemotherapy, and the second group after the completion of high-dose chemotherapy. We also will allow other treatments, including Optune, other chemotherapies such as the platinums or CCNU, Avastin, etc. All of those to be prescribed according to the desires of the treating physician. Communication yesterday with Janet showed that 22 people have been onboarded so far. Everything is going well. No toxicities have been noted. And there are several people who are waiting to undergo the usual evaluation for entry onto this study. So we're optimistic about this. We're hoping that our anecdotal, real-life, testimonial-ridden experience with this novel natural product will bring fruit, and it will be recognized as an adjunct to the therapies that are already in place for glioblastoma. We understand that this is a devastating disorder. We understand that simplicity and non-toxicity is extraordinarily helpful in the therapeutic approach to it, and we're hopeful that we can fulfill those roles. And as I should have said initially, this is something entirely different than the multiplicity of therapies that are available to us. So with that, I will stop and entertain any questions. Also, if there is still interest in discussing testosterone and glioblastoma, I would be happy to do that.
Let's see. Thank you, Dr. Michael. So this is a great question, one that is anticipated. Is this available to purchase in the United States or anywhere?
Well, TBL12 is available worldwide. It is almost identical to the pharmaceutical that is being used in the clinical trial in Australia, which is noted as Immune12. In the United States, because there is no FDA approval, we have a nutritional supplement that is spoken of as C-Care, and C-Care is a bit diluted in comparison to the original products. It's a bit diluted in comparison to the Immune12 that is being used in the clinical trial in Australia. But there is also now a C-Care Plus that is available that is almost as potent as the therapeutic entity used in the clinical trial in Australia. So that's a bit confusing. I should say that the background, the basis of all of it are the 5 marine organisms that I noted in the initial slide presentation. It's just that their dilutions are a bit altered because of regulatory factors. I hope that's not too complicated. It's a bit confusing to me sometimes.
It's okay. I would say to anybody out there listening and interested in either the two trials that are in Australia or interested in purchasing the product in the United States, Shreya, our patient navigator, can actually help you with all of those details. She has all of those details at her fingertips, so she can help you with access. So I would say to contact her. It's Shreya, Shreya, at endbraincancer.org. She also is presenting a little bit later today, and she'll provide her direct phone number for you as well. And she'll provide her email address again. I think you addressed this, but we should address it right now. What are some of the side effects, if
Uh,
any?
there are virtually none. In the clinical trial that was performed in New York against multiple myeloma, it was noteworthy that there were really no side effects associated with it. There was one patient who got into trouble with pneumonia, and that was deemed by the principal investigator and the reviewers to not be associated with this. I will say that a very rare patient, and I have to say very rare, gets some nausea with this. Generally, we ask folks if they are repelled a little by marine products to mix it in with something something that will modify its taste or its aroma. And so people mix it in juice, in coffee. We've had occasional folks mix it in wine, but it's very, very rare that it will give rise to any sort of nausea. Again, a very, very rare patient will have diarrhea with it. And I'm really not sure how to react to that, but it's virtually side effect free.
Does it have a color to it?
Oh, sure, it's brown.
Mhm.
It doesn't look particularly appetizing. It comes packaged and frozen from the other end of the world. It comes in little packets that are about twice as large as the packets that mustard and mayonnaise and ketchup are present in. We generally have people keep them frozen and thaw them at the time of use.
Excellent. Excellent. That's pretty, fascinating. Talk about thinking outside of the box.
It,
Love it.
it is, as I said, something completely different.
So again, Dr. Michael, thank you so much for your presentation. If there are more questions, please have them come in. Again, Shreya from my team is well versed. She's met with these investigators. She's met with Dr. Michael. She's well versed in this particular trial as well as the products. So feel free to reach out to her
Do
for
you
more
have a minute, Delian?
questions and guidance. I do.
I could come back to the testosterone issue that was brought up
Yeah,
earlier.
you know what? Can you talk about that and then we'll move on?
Right.
Because that's
From a bioenergetics perspective, all of these tumors arise in a situation that is estrogen dominant. Estrogen does things to the cell that make energy generation at the mitochondrial level extremely difficult. It puts people into a non-energetic state. It it underlies really the proliferation of and the support of the growth of any malignancy. So things that antagonize that estrogen predominant state, and those would include all of the things that are aromatase inhibitors, the natural ones being progesterone, pregnenolone, testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, and DHEA to a lesser extent would all antagonize that metabolic state and increase the availability of energy in the energy generation and the normalcy of energy generation through the mitochondrial electron chain. So that may be the source of the information that was previously presented, that testosterone may have some beneficial effects in the treatment, I would say, of all malignancies, just simply because all malignancies have the same bioenergetic profile. They are all metabolic abnormalities. They are all diseases primarily of mitochondrial energy generation, and anything that would improve mitochondrial energy generation in the usual way through oxidative phosphorylation is antagonistic to the growth of cancer. So that would be my take on that particular subject.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Very informative. I'm really glad that you brought us back to that question. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. And again,
Appreciate
thank you so much for having us present here and making our product available. Hopefully, in the future, we'll have more substantive information from
that.
our clinical trial and from the efforts at UNC that we can bring to the fore here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what it takes, right? It takes bringing things forward to create change. And,
Yes.
that is what Pacific Marine Bio is doing. And so hats off to them because, it wasn't all that long ago where Novacure was doing the same thing by bringing in, tumor treating fields as a potential treatment option for GBM. And now, of course, look where they're at today. So thank you so much, Dr. Michael and
You're quite
Pacific
welcome,
Marine
and thank
Bio.
you very much.
Thank you.
God bless. Take care now.
Thank you.